Good morning, everybody.
English.
So let us take a quick review of the first part of the handout we started on Wednesday, and then we will continue. So we're looking at problems facing the region. What region are we talking about here?
Caribbean.
Right, the Caribbean region, right? And we looked at these 12 factors here. Dualism. Remind me, somebody, what is dualism? When they're talking about dualism here, what they're talking about?
One technology advanced than the other.
Right. One sector of the economy is more technologically advanced compared to the other one. And the technologically advanced sector would really be comprising of the city areas or the urban areas in a country, right? As opposed to the technologically backward, quote unquote, one, or retarded, if you want to call it that, which is usually like the rural areas, right? Because they don't utilize as much technological gadgets as opposed to the urban areas. Urban means city life, rural means countryside, right? And that could be seen not just in terms of computers and all these other things, but also in terms of machinery, the use and kind of machinery, right? Could that be relevant to what's going on now with the education sector that you're thinking about when they say 60,000 students don't have access to internet or a laptop or anything like that?
Yep.
Yeah. Where you think that concentration would be more? What kind of areas?
I think more the could be the urban areas.
Well, you would like to think that the urban areas people have the concentration of devices will be more as opposed to the rural areas where internet access may not be forthcoming or it may not be strong or because if you don't know if the telecommunication companies would have set up cell towers, I don't know, something around there. Yeah. When they're talking about rapid population growth, what do you think that means? Rapid means in a large amount, right? So it means that the population is growing exponentially, right? So it means that the faster the population is growing, that will put a strain on the economy and on the country because now you have to provide and make sure there's enough food and what else? Housing, accommodations for all of them. So like, for example, when persons from the rural areas decide to migrate and flock to the urban areas, wouldn't that be a strain on the urban area because now they have to make sure there's adequate housing, transportation, and all these other things for persons concentrated within those areas? Because now the population there would increase and then they would have little or at least compared to in rural areas. Where, in rural areas, some houses are spaced out, spaced out. So you have your neighbor might be a good walking distance away compared to in a city area when they're just real close, like you could swear you're in the same house too.
Yeah, miss.
You also look at it like that?
Yeah, because some places, as I said, you can literally touch your neighbor.
Yeah, basically you can touch that, yeah. If you stand from your window close, you can see everything on the other side. I remember when I was vacationing in Queens with my aunt, and she lives in one of the relatively middle class neighborhoods, and she's in a lot. So when I stood up on like her stairs, there's a window right by the stairs. I could literally see everything in the neighbor's house because the window is right there. The house is just so close together. And you realize even in Trinidad, it's like the same thing. Did you all think so? Or depending on where you live, right? Because like in more countryside, how we like to harass Marina and she lives in the bush. So in more countryside, it would be different. The atmosphere would be different. Do you realize that?
Yeah, it is.
And the quality of life would also be different because sometimes you need your privacy. But if it is in a city area and you decide to, I don't know, talk hard, the whole neighborhood here, you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. When we're talking about brain drain, what are we talking about?
And probably the tradesmen and the tradesmen, and they're very good at it. They migrate to other
Yeah, we're
countries.
talking about the specialized persons, the qualified persons, right? And we're talking about
Hello?
yes,
That's
sorry about that.
probably would be my
Right, and we're
reply.
talking about the skilled persons now, moving away. They're migrating to other countries and all of these things. So why would that be a problem? Why would the problem be if the skilled workers are moving away from, let's just say, Trinidad?
Money.
We have a problem because we have the the manpower, skills, education, know-how to help develop the communities.
Yeah, and there wouldn't be anybody to pass on those skills and knowledge to the younger generation or to other persons, right?
Yeah.
Right, and that would be a problem because then there would be a lack of supply. Demand would be high, but the supply would be low because we don't have enough persons for it to help train the other persons, right? And then we have to go and resort to importing persons now, bringing in specialists from foreign land to come in here now and train them, and that's at a cost, right? Excessively high levels of imports. Isn't that a problem? How is that a problem to the Caribbean region?
Because you'll be spending more.
What are we spending more of?
You'll be spending more.
Foreign goods.
Foreign currency.
Yeah.
We'll be spending more for foreign currency, right? And this foreign currency could have been used in another sector, developing another sector. Right now, there is the issue of the US sanctions. What do you think? And some people have been saying that, whatever happened to the US, why are we placing so much emphasis on that? What are your thoughts on that?
Because we have close relationships with them, and right now their
Exactly.
currency at the highest.
Huh? Yeah, we do. That's perfect. Because that's it. We are very closely tied to the US. And how are we closely tied to them?
Trade.
Perfect. And trade. We import most of our food stuff from the US. Didn't y'all remember my cereal issue?
Yeah, we have about 50 different cereals in the groceries.
Exactly. So tell me about it. If it is that, God forbid, that the US imposes sanctions on Trinidad for so-called assisting Venezuela, what is going to happen? First of all, we import most of our food stuff from the US. And second of all, not just food stuff too, other things too. And second of all, they are our main export customer in terms of natural gas. So what do you think that would have in relation to Trinidad in terms of our trading relationship in force of our survival?
They might cut us off.
Boy, God forbid, eh? But do you think we could survive?
I don't think that they would.
Why?
I don't think they would because they import stuff from us as well too. Just as we said earlier.
But then they could
oil.
have alternatives, no?
Yeah.
Remember we're dealing with Trump.
Oil is very hard to come by in this time, so I
Oil
don't
is,
think they
yeah,
want
but
to
we have to watch at the global price too. Remember, okay, what are the oil producing countries? Trinidad, Guyana, Venezuela,
Yeah.
Qatar. No, I'm not sure if it's
Saudi
Qatar.
Arabia.
Right.
No, not
So, okay, albeit their relations with the Middle East are strained. Venezuela said no go. Possibly you have a point. You have a point, Dexter, in terms of they might not do it, but right, we still can't tread on that thinking. We don't know what's going on.
It's Trump in
Because
it.
Exactly.
Not like we already.
Exactly. So, in terms of our international trade, in terms of our relationship with them, in terms of our level of imports and all these other things, yeah, it could have dire consequences, even for getting visas.
Yeah. Now
You
that.
understand? I don't think they would do it because a lot of Chinese travel to the US, like a lot. They get a lot of money coming in from the Chinese.
It's just as Trump, and you see how he does thing, let the Chinese stay in the land, So,
Well, that too. So, and that, so I'm sure most of us have family members and living somewhere in the States, so that could also pose a trouble in terms of traveling. You know?
And
We
they
are
all want to
sending
come
back.
back home. All of them want to come back home right now.
I don't know. I don't know. But but we have to look at that in terms of excessive levels of import. We talked about our food import bill. We talked about how high it is, right? So that is also a
Yeah.
problem for not just Trinidad, but for the entire region. We need to be able to become self-sufficient. And I think it's only because of this pandemic that people are actually seeing it through. You know, we've been talking about it all the time, but nothing has ever been done to make sure it happens. But it's taking a pandemic for us to realize, well, oh gosh, yeah, more reactive than proactive. Because now we want to give farmers, now there is need to give farmers so a greater assistance and all these things in order to develop their trade. Because I mean, we can't continuously rely on the imports. Look at the situation now in terms of, let's just say, containers take extra long to clear or to reach, or there's some kind of problems there with that. You don't have enough money to pay for the same amount that we accustomed to buying. What about, and then in terms of food shortage, food security, all of those things pop up, right? So those are things to consider when we're looking at the level of imports and in terms of food security and all this being self-sufficient. Because all of those are problems facing the region right now. And it has been for a while. When we're talking about lack of financial resources, what do you all think? We've been dipping into the Heritage and Stabilization Fund to get money or financial resources to take us out of this COVID-19 situation, right? That Heritage and Stabilization Fund was for rainy days. Now we've also received, I think, monies from the IMF. So we need to make sure that this money is managed properly, because it can't just last us for 1 month or two. It has to take us throughout the entire year and falling into maybe 2021, because we have to remember there's very little economic activity going on right now, and not just in Trinidad or in the region, but internationally, globally, right?
Economy is understand still.
It really is, yeah, and something to consider. A lack of investment. Do you think investment is going to take place even more now? No, it would be halt. It would be at a stop, right? Particularly because there's not much economic activity taking place. Not enough money to be investing into certain areas or certain uh, divisions, right? Corruption at all levels of the society, which includes the mismanagement of public funds. And Trinidad and Tobago is one of it rates high, ranks high in the corruption index, and that's not a good thing. Because Trinidad is becoming known for being highly corrupted. Right? So that is by itself going to impact on the standard of living of the people. And also in terms of foreign direct investments, if investors understand that there's so much corruption going on, there's very little transparency. Do you think they would want to invest in our economy?
No.
It hinders our stability. Fluctuations in the business cycle. If not much small businesses are able to give the larger businesses competition, right? Or that their infant companies are being stifled, then it will be fluctuations. Some of them start off nice, they might not even be able to take it to the next stage and all these things, right? So we have to be careful of that. All of those things are very important. strikes and industrial unrest. Because you realize it's only when you're striking in here that you probably get your voice heard. When striking is supposed to be the last resort. Political instability. We could probably hint at what's going on in Guyana, right? In terms of their elected government, which is still quote unquote unknown, and exactly what have happened in Venezuela when they had their elections too. Right? Unemployment is a big problem affecting the region, and especially now, where because of the pandemic, the unemployment level would have risen. Right?
Especially in the US too.
In the US too. Yes, in the US as well. Yep. Yeah, we've seen the closure of a lot of businesses, right? So this is very troubling times economically and even health-wise. And we can see that this might take a while to recover. People might take a while to recover from this. Because it's just, the damage is just so much.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Social problems, we would have discussed this on Wednesday, talking about violence, domestic abuse, which we would have seen having increased recently because of the whole stay-at-home orders and all these other things. So that speaks volumes in terms of the quality of family life and quality of relationships that is present right now, right? And also about the macro issues that may be leading towards these things happening, right? And they're all linked. So, you're seeing domestic violence, you're seeing youth violence, right? You're seeing more youth being the juvenile then, right? They're becoming so disobedient, involved in criminal activities. They're leaving school. They are not becoming productive members of society. All of those things are linked. Teenage pregnancy, all of these things, right? Drug addiction, all of those, and the lack of proper housing facilities and accommodations, all of those things are linked. They're all intertwined with each other. So look how much problems there. Let's look at the lack of investment. You remember the definition that I gave you of investment before? Right. So we're looking at investments. A lack of investments results in a lack of industrial development and expansion of industries. What do you all think by that? When you're talking about investment, who giving this investment?
The government.
Well, we can't depend on the government for everything. If not the government, who else?
It's not so many people.
Business people.
Yeah, and who else?
Industries.
We're looking more at foreigners. So we would look more at foreign direct investment. Why foreigners? Because they have the capital ready. Because you're talking about industrial development that requires large injections of money. We're not talking about foreign direct investment. Maybe you could talk about other governments, or you could talk about large financial firms, right? Because you want, if you're talking about investment of industrial capacity, you're talking about an expansion of these industries, you're talking about a lot of capital injection, right? So if investment increases, that means if the person in the industry gets more capital, obviously it would result in more jobs being created and a reduction in poverty and unemployment and all these other things, right? That will help the country greatly, right? Because now you're looking to maybe produce more goods, right? So you can export more and import less. Like, for example, if you want to expand the soft drink industry or the manufacturing industry, not the soft drink, manufacturing. And this will include like essentially, it will also include like Abel, Kiss, NFM, all of these manufacturing companies, meaning when they say expanding, you want more of them, either in terms of the quality and quantity of products, or you're talking about new firms coming up with different types of products. I think like there are some small firms. There's this one into the beauty industry. So there's this one firm that I know, one small company that I know about, Bottled Up Organics. I don't know if anybody know about them. They're an Instagram business. And what they do is that they use natural ingredients, like for example, turmeric and fruits, extracts, and all these other things to make face masks, um, serums, and what else? Face masks, serums, to use basically beauty care products, right? And they're advertising it. Their main selling point is that all of these ingredients and raw materials are natural based. What they did is they started off and it was a big hit because persons were now wanting to go into a more natural route in terms of their skincare as opposed to all of the alcohol and artificial chemicals and all these things, right? And they decided to export and they entered the market in Jamaica. And it was actually a huge hit. So you want to encourage an expansion of businesses like that. You're tapping into a new industry then, the skincare, because Trinidad, I think, it doesn't really have much skincare products to say is strong enough to expand in terms of export, right? We usually just do it here for local buy. So that's actually one example of it. Maybe what they could do in terms of encouraging for the growth of that industry is think more investment into there. What do you all think?
Yeah, I can agree with
You're
that.
so, like you're so sure about that one.
Because I'm thinking about investment in other avenues as well.
No problem. Like what?
I'm not quite sure where, but I'm pretty sure there are other avenues, more so than in the skincare, because not everybody would be more, into
Well, you
that.
have to go with the trends, huh? You have to go to the trends and see what is for better with in style or trending now. So what kind of industries
Mhm.
would you think there's now becoming a greater demand for?
More money.
What about, did you all see the whole doubles packaging thing I said?
Yeah?
Yeah, I saw it.
Or I think I sent it in the group, I'm not sure. With the
Yeah.
packaging doubles now.
Yeah, yes, I know.
What do y'all think
Believe
about
it
that?
or not, I actually went for some.
You're lying.
Are
Yeah,
you
not for
that?
me though.
Wait. Did
Mhm.
you
How
not
it is?
diss it? Did you not diss that whole thing?
Yeah,
Well,
he
I
did
said not
it.
for me,
And
not
He
for
did
Yes.
me.
it. He did
You
it.
see,
Exactly. I know, but seriously.
Yeah,
wow.
you did it. And you
Oh,
went and you buy it.
wow.
Yeah, that's
you know?
good. That's good.
Let me hear how it is.
How it
But what's up with
is,
that?
Exxon?
Wow.
It's true.
When not ready, I was so.
No, go ahead, we're
It's
ready.
right.
How it
So
is,
Ready.
Exxon?
morning, Lindas.
How it is?
Morning,
You sir?
Lindas.
Getting ready, sir? How it is?
So yeah, miss. So my lovely lady wanted to get some doubles.
Uh-huh.
So that's the only way we end up going to get it. But I did not try it because I don't eat those things as mentioned. But
Uh-huh.
according to her, it was good.
Oh, what's good?
It was good?
Yes, that's the
Okay.
information that was given to me. It was
All
warm
right.
Oh,
and
wait, that's
supple.
not
When I went for it, or
Uh-huh.
when we went for it, it had a long line, and
Serious?
it's mostly people who were there went for double, and it's
So did
warm
they
and
even go for gas? They went for doubles.
they went for double
Is it St. Christopher's gas
because
station?
this is how it's done, eh? Yeah, it's the quick shop in the gas station,
Yeah.
all owned by St. Christopher's. Because remember, St. Christopher's, we partner with them as too. That's our taxi service.
Oh, but
So when we hired Regency, hired
Nice
St.
move.
Christopher's. So when we went there,
uh-huh.
if you see the line, policemen, servicemen, everybody line up as well, and people only coming out with doubles, coming out with 4, 5, Napa, people quarreling, everybody had to get.
You serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the like,
What do you all
that's-
think about that investment idea? Because the person who made it is called Fat Boy Doubles or something.
Yeah,
That's
fat
a
boy.
good
Think
idea.
about it. They
It's
can
a
think
good
about
idea.
it.
It's an amazing idea because it's working. People coming out their home.
So do you think that investment was worth it?
From 6, yeah?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Absolutely. Absolutely worth it.
Because somebody made a
starts to
comment
sell
and
from
say that these people are too desperate. When they saw it, it was like, they're too desperate. I was like, but how do you mean? What do you mean that they're too desperate? To me, I see it as a brilliant business idea. It's innovative. If it is that you're a doubles man and you cannot go out and do your usual trade the way you're accustomed to doing, you find an alternative within the remits of the law, of course, right? But you find an alternative and you innovate, you change your strategy to suit. Just like, for
It brings
example,
back some sort of normality. Some kind
exactly.
of,
It's quote unquote a new normal. We don't know how long this is going to last for.
Mm-hmm.
Miss, just
Yeah.
Friday, the whole of Shagona Center ordered doubles from
Aye.
one particular doubles person.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And some people order 30 doubles, 15 doubles per person, so that person get real sale. Real
Wow.
sale. Yeah.
I also
don't
have
know
a
if you all
student
know
who
it
sell
too.
doubles, so I don't know if you all would like their contact as well. But it's actually
For people who people who need the pizza and all these things, or the fast food,
Mhm.
if you all have Price Mart cards, Price Mart doing their stuff as normal,
Uh-huh.
but it's all gonna pick up.
Okay.
So the little dining area they have obviously is closed, but once you go early, they
Yeah.
have everything already made, and then the hot box. You just pick it up.
Oh, that's not bad, yeah.
Yeah. Just for your knowledge, who may want or
I
can't
honestly
go
think
I
that
actually heard that.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I heard they
Sorry,
was
no, is that?
no, I said I actually heard that. I heard Price Mart was still doing eats food and stuff now.
So I think that this whole doubles idea could even be continued after the whole restriction lift. So if basic things like if we go back to quote unquote normal, I think it's a good idea. Somebody will complain,
Because
people will complain and say that
very,
$30 for
very
4 doubles is
fresh.
too much. What do you think?
No, it wasn't 4.
It wasn't 4? How much was it?
Had like a buzz, bro. Like a buzz. Italy bar, I think. That's 4 too.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's
Okay.
4. If you put the two
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
have to
At
pay for
Italy. I
you have
don't
to
eat
pay
them
for the
things, so I don't
packaging
really
and
know.
all. That will
Exactly.
cost. Remember, it will
More,
cost money because
exactly.
they have to pay for the packaging and the containers and all these things.
Yeah,
Everything is
true.
money. So
That's true. I mean, it has to also be lucrative for them as well.
exactly, that's a key
You know?
profit.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. But clearly, the
Package is
way
pretty
that
good.
was saying the line was so long that it was actually a beneficial, it was a fruitful investment.
Yep.
That's not a
Absolutely.
bad idea.
Nothing.
It's actually a good idea.
Boy, do it very
When I
well.
saw it, I was impressed. I was like, okay, I take a while to process it. And I was like, but it's not a bad idea. You know? That's good. All right. So that's actually, so we can say that their investment was fruitful. You remember how we started the sucker bag thing too? We just needed to continue with it. There needed to be some continuity with it to realize if the investment would be worth it.
The pandemic kind of,
Yeah, it dampened the mood. But it
Yeah.
does not mean to say that we can't continue with it post the pandemic. Just give it some new life. So what you can do right now is like use this time for planning. I don't know where Charles is, but to use this time for planning and get all of the strategies down and all of these things. So, you know, after the pandemic, you already know what you have to do, where to get this and all these other things, you know? Planning is important. Right? Right, so obstacles to invest right? Meaning things or problems that can hinder the investment or slow it down. We're looking at the lack of money, which is definitely the first one, right? Because in order to start any kind of new business or to expand an existing business takes money, takes a lot of money, right? That's why I think, you know, in the US, how they have this show, I don't know what you call it. I can't remember the name, where you go up with your business idea and these investors, you present it to these investors and you pitch the idea and whether they like it or not, they would decide to invest in it.
Yeah.
Something like planting seeds.
Yes,
Shark,
it's like
shark,
something like planting seeds in Trinidad.
Shark Tank is the name.
Shark Tank, yes, something like that, right? That is one way of how persons can, you know, try to get money in terms of starting off the business in terms of the investment or looking for expansion, right? It's an innovative way, you know, they market it to do, so it's a business, right? Countries too dependent on foreign investment, yes. Because if you're too dependent, just like if you're too dependent on one export commodity, wouldn't you run into problems if you don't have a plan B?
Mm-hmm.
One cash cow is not going to cut it. You need to be able to move from depending on one commodity in order to, you know, be able to sustain yourself. Why are we now in a pandemic looking to now expand the agricultural sector when we could have been doing it all along in order to improve our position on food security? Because we import too much food. Our food import bill is way too high.
And another one of our foreign imports was from tourism too. So now because of the pandemic, and we don't have any
Right,
foreign,
so exactly, but
especially in
tourism
Tobago.
will be more for Tobago. So what else are we doing
Yeah.
now to sustain ourselves? You understand? Why can't we invest in other innovative agricultural methods in order to provide food security, not just for ourselves, but for the region? Those are questions and things we need to think about. Lack of managerial and entrepreneurial skills. Not everybody who's starting off a business or who is expanding it would necessarily be critical thinkers or have the ability to manage the business. They might have the formal education of how to do it, right? But it does not mean to say that they can actually put that to practice. Having it on paper is one thing, but putting it into practice is something totally different. Would you agree?
See again, miss?
I said having it, your qualifications or your skills on paper is one thing, but putting it into practice is something totally different.
Yep, I completely
Yeah, I agree.
agree.
Yeah, yeah, for real.
Just like, for example, when some persons, you know, they go to sign up for a course and they may not have the formal schooling requirement, but they have the years of experience. The years of experience can always be used in lieu of that formal training. Because that means you would have gathered enough knowledge then. Yeah? Like even CTS and some of the educational institutions, right? If it is one of the requirements, well, let's just say doing a higher level program would be formal schooling, right? But then if you don't have that, you can use the years of experience and I will do it, right? So those things would be considered. Lack of technically trained people. And most of the times, the Caribbean, there's that issue. There's not enough proper trained persons in the sense to carry about certain activities or to make it fruitful, right? And what they do is that they depend on the foreigners to come and do it, to provide the training. Yeah, right? All right. Unable to compete with large foreign companies. Do you think that's true?
Yeah.
Do you think our local companies can effectively compete with some large foreign companies that come into Trinidad for particular industries? We can't because they have the technical know-how and the finances right? And that by itself poses a problem, an obstacle, right? Unable to effectively market local products. Do you think we have that issue? And how so?
Mhm.
Is if we are marketing it locally or if we marketing
Both,
it
both.
abroad.
Sorry. What do y'all think?
I would say locally, yes. Overseas, no. Because it's
Okay, what do you mean?
costly. It's more costly to market your local products overseas as opposed to
Well,
locally.
there's this new
Locally, correct.
bandwidth. There's this new bandwidth that's saying, you know, buy local. Y'all remember that? They always encouraging people to basically buy local products as opposed to the foreign ones, right?
You know, like buy local Royal Castle and not KSC.
Yeah.
Cheaper though.
You find so? I find it going up.
No, I find KFC cheaper than Royal Castle.
Yes, it's cheaper.
Yeah, it is. I think it is, huh?
But I know that's one of the things that they say with regards to buy local. Your Royal Castle over the KFC.
Well, that's true, but I don't know what you're thinking.
Yes,
But
we
yeah,
have more resources than Royal Castle
why is it that?
because it's a foreign company.
Okay, but Royal Castle here long.
Yeah, they're here long, but I believe KFC have more
Boring.
investors than Royal Castle.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Because
Yes,
people
you're
will
right.
continue
I'm
to
more
think
favor,
that foreign is better than local. And that's always been our mentality.
Yep,
It's the truth.
But that
But it's the
shouldn't.
truth.
I disagree.
Why is it that?
Not everything.
Listen to me. The Caribbean drive is different from the foreign drive.
Okay, how you mean? Explain.
I mean that I think foreigners more committed to doing things and getting it done compared to the Caribbean people.
But that
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily mean that what they are marketing is better. It just
Oh,
means
yes.
that their
It
marketing
doesn't mean
strategy
it is
Well, the market,
right,
yeah, the
but it's
marketing
how
strategy
they
is
market
better.
it. It's how they
They're all
market
about
it.
the money.
Right. That's what I was saying. The marketing,
Yeah.
their marketing strategy is different as opposed to ours. That may be to support Simonski is a little more lackadaisical, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the actual product is better.
I think they do business better than us.
It's true.
Them all about making money. They literally are and she want to take a whole mile.
It's a debatable topic. But
Yes.
yes, what Simone's saying is true. The drive is different.
Mhm.
If you even look at the Spanish, the Puerto Ricans, or even the Venezuelans, let's just say,
Mm-hmm.
who come into Trinidad and they know they have nothing. Even these people who were doctors and lawyers and teachers back home, now doing jobs that it would not have been doing otherwise. But that's just different in terms of marketing, right? But in terms of the marketing local products, if you realize in Miami has a lot of Spanish persons, Cubans, right? Anybody ever tried to do business in one of them?
Persistent.
If again, persistent is a joke. You know how? Okay, so personally, I did try doing business with them, right? I've done it on a couple of occasions. And you know how some people in Trinidad might be hating to nag, or if you say, okay, I'll pass back and that's it. You won't really harass the person further or whatever. These one people don't do that. They will nag you every other day.
Yeah.
Taking over.
I like
They
it.
are very persistent in their advertising and marketing of their products.
You're walking
Very,
through
very
Larry
persistent.
Francis fashion.
Huh?
You're walking through Larry Francis fashion, Thomas. They will go see persistent.
Uh-huh.
Never gonna know about that.
What that's supposed to mean, I don't understand.
Wow.
I don't
Wow.
get it.
I
I
don't
don't
shop
get
there
either.
though.
You know, but if you pass, if you like, you want to go
Yes,
through
it's
back,
true.
and
Yeah,
you
you're
pass
talking the
through,
truth.
there is
Everybody
can
trying to
get
get a
them.
feel. Yeah. Everybody trying to get a feel.
Everybody, if you walk through the mall itself, even
Yeah.
Yeah. No, even if you pass in the front, there is a come
there's
on,
want
come
to
on,
pick you
after
up,
me.
there's want to literally
Yeah.
pick you up and carry you to.
What kind of mall are they walking in?
Oh,
There is
that is so
Francis
good.
Plaza right in Shogunas there. Walking in front
Good.
of it, just after busy corner. Others just be hustling you if you want to buy.
Yes, yes.
Never
Yeah,
rent a
that's-
32, so.
Well, oh gosh, but still, how the other malls don't do it? How the other malls
That
don't
is
have
what I said. Which
Clientele.
mall?
Everybody, and it's
Location.
competition.
That's
It's
what I said. Which
competition.
mall are they walking into?
Yeah,
Everybody have the same
Malls
things.
I walk.
Everybody competing against each other.
true.
exactly.
So they had to get a
Exactly.
product sell.
So true.
And what you have to do now is find some kind of innovative way to market it.
That's it.
Just like how that buttered up organics person did it. They hired a professional social media person and helps them to market their products. Anybody on Instagram right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Type up buttered up organics.
Buttered up.
Yeah, buttered up organics.
Button mechanic?
No.
Butter up,
Buttered
man.
up. Let me see if I get. I don't even know if I'm signed on. Oh, yeah, I can't remember any of these passwords things, so I ain't gonna work out.
I think if you just search it, you might see it.
Oh, they're on Amazon too.
American sandalwood
Yeah.
facial
Yeah.
mask.
Look,
Oh.
they even on. See? If that's them.
It's a skincare line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Their stuff work.
I don't know. I just ordered one last night, so I'll tell you when I finish it.
Oh,
I
okay.
find they only more marketing the product and not like feedbacks on if people say
You mean
it
like the
actually
reviews?
works.
Right,
Yeah.
have no reviews.
I know reviews. I not seen any. Name like a before and after picture.
It's a local business, miss?
Yeah, it's a local business. No, I think on some of the pages you do. I don't know if they have the reviews. If you go to the earlier pictures, you'll see it.
Yeah, but can you really trust photos nowadays with all this filter and
Guys,
editing?
I've seen us be so frightened to all of those stuff there.
I am too, but then I see they have this Mother's Day kind of sale. So I think I'll try it.
Next time you come out more worse than it. Than
And
before.
Hey,
Instagram.
did I see it on Instagram?
No.
I rebuke that to Dexter.
No,
I rebuke that.
I actually wasn't talking about you per se. I was just saying.
It's like, take that back, eh?
No, of course not you. I was talking in general.
Let me see if I find it. What is another business that you think, a local business that you think has up their marketing skills? A local product, not like D&D Auto who just advertising the cards. A local product.
I'm thinking.
This man who is the bear and hair man.
What is that?
He is like ointments for your beard to grow bigger, and he now improve it to a hair.
Who's it? I don't know who's this.
Let's see if I get
I'm talking about Trevor Sears.
I was now thinking that.
He brother.
I weak.
I swear that's the first person that came to my mind too.
What about Blue Waters? They're local, they up their marketing strategy.
Kind of have an iffy with that because where they get any water from?
Whatever
You
one
understand what I
is
mean?
Rainwater, whatever it's for.
I don't know what you're thinking. Something else. What? We don't use any other local product?
That's just to tell us how highly dependent we are on the foreign markets.
Yeah. Okay, so I got that. I got her again. Let me show you. This is their page on Instagram. Right. Just take a look at the marketing. Right?
This 250 is for all those stuff.
Which one? 251?
200
This one
for
here?
all of that.
Yeah. So
And
this
for like
one
3
is
bottles, I think.
this one is 250. It is a vitamin boost facial cleanser, a watermelon sleep mask, and a shower gel.
Nah, me want that.
Like
It's
treating
cute. It's up to
Why?
you. It's a
Why?
mugger.
Exactly.
Not for you, Dexton.
Oh, you know
Right?
how I just think that's something wrong. That's too cheap.
They have this one.
Organic stuff.
Yeah. I ordered this one. The turmeric and sandalwood facial mask and a turmeric and aloe serum.
Anytime you put it in, it's no organic again.
If they put that on your skin, start to scratch you.
Dexter, they say you? I rebuke you and all of this
Negativity.
negativity.
This negativity
Look
on
up.
a Sunday.
But look at that, huh? Look at that.
Hey,
We're
oh,
talking
yeah,
about
we
a local product, right? We're talking
Yeah,
about a local
again.
product.
But when you hear we get it on,
You
wow.
understand? So
I
let's just say
protesting
now,
everybody only like local, only like foreign, and they don't like local.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. If it was Olay, or let's just say, I don't know, the ordinary, or let's just say L'Oreal or something, you're sure he wasn't going to say something like that, and I have more chemicals in it. Huh?
No, actually,
Negativity for your own
to
country.
the
Exactly.
No, $100 has no value. So why would I pay $100 for something and I expect miracles from it? That just
You
doesn't
can't
make
expect
sense.
miracles on the first try, though.
Okay, rich guy. Okay.
You understand?
Really, Nella, really.
But based on the marketing, though,
You.
what are y'all thinking about this? You know?
This is nice. This is pretty.
Packagings
No,
are
no.
nice.
I like it.
No,
I would want to try.
I'll do the lotion, I'll do the gel, the shower gel, because you're just expecting scents like SCNTS. But the stuff with skincare, where you're expecting to see a change in your skin. I wouldn't pay $100 for something and expect miracles.
Well, I can't expect miracles after the first use.
And that's the
How
thing.
much? Okay, so in terms of your skincare, all right, let's just say in terms of your skincare regimen, right? Pick one product that is your holy grail.
Hot water.
No, I'm serious now.
No hot water on a rag.
So it's just steam your face and that's it.
No soap, no nothing. Hot water on a rag and then cool water. Just close
You
your
sure?
pores.
Open
What
and close the
about
pore.
moisturizing it?
Nothing. Your skin releases natural oils. So the minute you start to add oil to your skin, it releases extra oils, and that's where breakouts come from.
All right.
Just for you guys to know, in case you didn't know, I studied it.
No, we know of that.
Okay,
So what about
okay.
those who don't use those stuff on the skin and still get breakouts?
Yeah. Persons with acne and
The
stuff.
more thing you put on it, and you thinking it should work, that is what they sketch you with those over-the-counter drugs. When you thinking you helping your skin, you're doing more damage. I learned that from an esthetician who told me all these things, and I did a few classes, so that's all.
Okay.
Anyway,
point taken.
I like Himalaya Fresh Start. It has worked good
I
for
like the
oily skin.
Himalaya line of products too.
No, it has really worked.
Yeah, the Himalayas, yeah? Yeah.
Yes.
I like it too. But I was
Yeah.
just talking about the marketing though, that this local company is doing.
No, this
But
is
the page look
pretty.
really
You do a
good.
good
The
job.
page look really
Yeah, you
Right?
do
good.
a good job. Yeah.
It makes you want to buy.
Professional. Yeah, professional
How's
advertising.
this?
Go back to
Look
that
at,
one I
like,
was on just
I
now.
can't do
It
this
even
by
look
myself.
local. It even look local.
Which one?
You see that line
Yes.
that
It
Shimon
does
said?
not.
That's so
Yeah. This one here?
What you say,
you know
Dexter?
No, but she's
that
right.
look really-
This
No, I'm
one?
not saying she's wrong, but it's unfortunate that that's what we tend to see all the time. It doesn't look local.
Do you know why? And this brings us back to her point previously, where she's saying that the local people don't take this thing seriously.
Mm-hmm.
They
But
don't.
they-
And that is
they
why
Tell this
foreigners
person
will
take
always
this
propel
seriously.
in terms of marketing.
marketing on point. And where are they stationed?
They are, let's go back
San
up.
one.
Yeah,
San
Huh?
one.
San
San
Juan,
San
Trinidad.
one.
They're
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, Jackson, you're good. You like to make fun of it, but you're going and buy it after.
That's true. You do the same thing with the
So,
doubles.
Telling
but
me?
Thing with the
let me
I
doubles.
hear what you telling the lady. You try it and tell me how it works.
But it's actually they only doing online deliveries on right now. Look at this. Like seriously, what do y'all think? I would give
it's
this
probably
social
bringing
media
mad
person,
chances
this
to
this
Awesome.
That
marketing person,
person
Yeah, this
just
is
play real
awesome.
good.
You give Bath and Body Works some good competition.
that's
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, they're on
And they use
point.
the
They're on
natural
point with the
ingredients.
marketing.
Yes.
Well,
But local company, definitely.
To answer your question, Stephen, I definitely would support. I'd buy a little lotion, I'd buy a little, body wash, but nothing for my face.
Miss, they really invest in the advertising.
That's what I'm thinking. Let's look at this. Because Stephen was saying he saw no reviews. So let's see.
That ain't
Basically,
make no sense. It just don't make
But
no,
I
it
am
make
no
no
confused.
sense.
I
Yeah,
want to
I'm
know what.
confused.
okay.
Yeah,
So what
no.
she was doing there, right? What she was doing
That's
there was an
thorough.
endorsement. An endorsement for this particular product that is mostly used by makeup persons, right? So a makeup artist is doing an endorsement of that. So basically, you know about the influencers
Yeah,
in terms of
but
marketing.
yeah, I understand that part in the marketing,
Right.
but
What they're doing
they,
is using these persons as an influencer, right, to help them market their product. That is one aspect of marketing. So when we talk
but they,
about marketing, we don't just mean the ads.
no, but
We
miss, I
mean,
understand that part. It just them
right.
contradict the whole thing. If that's supposed to be that enhancing your beauty that
You
you're
see,
trying to
just
say,
for you
but
going and say this, Stephen, it's just what I thinking. Just for
yeah,
you going and
because you ain't
what
do
I'm
nothing to
thinking.
the product.
But
It's not natural.
Right. Okay, I understand where you're coming from.
Miss,
basically,
look
it's
at
like
the
you're showing me a line to get rid of and to clean, but yet still you're showing me something to hide.
you
So
put
what
on
we doing?
makeup.
What we doing? What we doing?
Miss,
Nobody
even
in
the
China know the makeup,
I feel
I
this is
sent
because you
something.
are totally against the makeup issue.
No, that's why
Not
I just
really,
made
Nick.
it clear we have nothing against makeup. It's just that if you're showing me a line to get rid of my imperfection, then why you also showing me something to cover it up? It's like we doing because makeup is just not a cover up. It's to enhance the beauty the way women,
Right. So
right. So we're
maybe
not talking about just cover ups, but clearly she had something on her face there that she was covering up.
True, true.
So
Is that there was some
the
spots.
impression I got is like you're showing me how to cover up. But then when I
Alright.
scroll down the page or scroll up the page, you're showing me how to get rid of. So yeah, I tell them.
Alright,
all.
true. Alright. But in terms of using it as a marketing tool, what do you think?
Yeah, you're on point.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
love the
think they
page,
are, to be
everything.
honest.
I love the page. I would support this page.
And
And they
it
have
goes back to
lotion and
show.
stuff, right?
Huh?
They have lotion and body wash, I
Yeah.
think I saw it.
Sorry. And this is when they went Jamaica and they launched their stuff in Jamaica.
That's the team.
Yeah, that is, I'm thinking, yeah.
All of them have a makeup.
Oh,
Well, yeah.
like the thing I see. Especially flawless.
You're nice, you know. I talking about how they expanded to Jamaica and you're talking about all the makeup.
Flawless
Okay.
looking. I'm not sure about that.
Maybe they can invest more in these kinds of
So what are we watching here?
Which one is
no,
before? Which one is after? Because I know they left the day before and they write the day after, but the after has zit, a big zit in the by she face.
What was that just now? She take a line up? She sideburns on me?
Let me exit this thing, yes? You're more concerned of the local products than anything else. That just proves Simone's point. You're
But Miss Ison
you're
coming in the
horrible.
group
I'll check.
with
You're
Mr.
just
Raw.
real horrible.
Wow,
I don't know, you know?
Trini's again.
I'm telling you, I don't
Good, that was a
understand.
good laugh. I already made it clear I would support. So I
But
don't know.
you know the high critics, you know, would you all do that to, let's just say, Olay or I don't know what else, L'Oreal
Yes.
or one of those?
Yes.
Yeah. If they
I
tell
should
me,
pull up L'Oreal page now.
yeah, but Miss, if they tell
Pull
me
it up.
it's a skin
Pull it up.
cure, but yet still them putting makeup to hide it, that making sense.
Exactly, and we got the same thing he was thinking. I was thinking of the back. Maybe it's a man thing. I don't know. But
When ladies in
I was going to say it's a
back,
man thing, you know, because
I was not going to say that.
a mark on your face just take a while to remove. And then you want to use makeup. So she just basically just show you what you could use to cover up the mark.
No, don't tell
until
me
they
that.
get rid of it.
No,
Until
marks are
it's
very hard to get rid of, huh?
Exactly.
exactly. That's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to look
but
at.
everybody gets marks though.
Yeah.
So we
Not
know.
especially
But
if the person
Oh,
the
has
argument,
some worse than
argument
some
is,
black. Some worse
Yeah,
than some.
of
Everybody's
course,
skin is not the same.
of course, Simone, we know this. We're not debating that. But what I'm saying is, the page is about getting rid of, right? So then why tell them we could use this to get rid of, but then you're showing me something to cover up.
Well, I mean,
Because
consistent using
if
it,
I
Like
not
which
use
just
the
one?
the after
product
one.
today,
Because
if I
if I
use the
try to
product
get
today,
rid of, I shouldn't have to cover up.
one time today. So this is what it is you could use in place.
That's an
If I try
argument.
to get rid
However,
of, I
today,
would continuously use to get rid of without covering up because I would be using too many stuff on my skin.
Well, I think
So
that
either doing either one.
that's just in case it didn't get rid of it. They could use something.
yeah, and you want to use makeup and all these things.
So in other words, is a possibility you're saying that it wouldn't work.
No, we never said that.
But that's what Colleen said. That's just in case it didn't work, it could cover up. Like what she said. I'm not trying
It's
to be
just in
difficult.
case it didn't get rid of whatever it is the one to get rid of.
Remember, marks on a person's face can't come off just so. It takes time. It
You
depends
know,
on person's
I've
skin
had
type.
marks before.
It's a cocoa butter. Never fail.
That don't work for everybody. Everybody's skin type is not the same, honey.
Yeah, that's a myth. That's the thing is a myth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but only
Right. And adverse balance of payments. What does it mean again?
Sorry, miss?
What does an adverse balance of payment mean?
As more imports than exports.
Payments and receipts.
Yeah. So that means you're paying more money into imports than you are receiving in terms of exports.
Export.
That's very good. That's very good. Right? Proud of you all for that. That's good. Unemployment. Unemployment is one of the social issues affecting the region, right? Unemployment refers to people who are able and willing to work, but are unable to find jobs. I wanted to remember that definition. It's not like they're not employed, you know. It means that they're able and willing to work, but they just can't find work. That is a multiple choice question. So you'd want to make sure you remember this.
This could ask you to say that again, please.
Sure. You see
Was I right with the adverse balance of payments? The adverse
Yeah, underneath.
balance of payments. That's
Yeah,
more
underneath.
important
Let me get it for
than
you.
exported.
You see the screen, right?
Underneath?
You
Oh,
you
yeah.
see the screen?
Yes, I'm unemployment underneath.
Yeah. You see it like that?
Yeah, yes. I'm not looking at this one. I was doing something.
Okay. So, but, all right. That is why I can see it right there. All right.
But,
Always remember what a definition is there, because some people can get confused by it. Unemployment simply means you're able and you're willing to work, but you just can't find it. Not that you're not working at all, alone, right? Underemployment. This is where a person is working beneath his or her level of qualifications. It means like if you say you have a master's, but you can't put master's because you can't get a work in order to match your qualifications because people don't have enough money may not have enough money to pay you. So you just put your bachelor's, basically. And that is what's been going on in Trinidad, at least I know, for a number of years. Right? People are being unemployed. So they're highly qualified, but their pay structure is not matching because the employers may not have the money to pay them at that rate. That's why some employers, when they see qualifications of persons who may be applying, would not hire them as opposed to somebody with lesser qualifications because they don't have the money to pay at that level. Right?
I could disagree. Because
Hi,
we can disagree. Because it has some like people they can put how qualified they is, but at the job at hand, they like fish out of water.
explain now.
Like I come like some fellas who finish the degree, the engineering course, and they come to us by the garage, and like certain things that we doing that I doing for a number of years, and I give them a task to do because my uncle does be back and forth in the shop. I give them a task to do. Because lack of experience, or yes, they had the qualification, and I say it's who know you that get the requirements. It's like they don't have, they don't know what's going on or what is. So I was like, and you went so that time NESC was still around. Still around. I like, so wait telling me you don't know how to do it or you never did it. I was like, so what is really going on in this country?
Because what you learn in school is not what you're going to do in reality most of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct, that's correct.
But I agree. Trade school.
No, but you're talking about the trade school. That's what you're speaking about.
Yeah, but what they do, it don't mean they will do the same thing when they get a job.
No, that's what he said. He did the training too. When he did the training too?
Me? No.
Yeah. He didn't do that training too?
No.
Oh, okay.
I learned by trial and error.
And that's another form of learning.
No, but that's the best form of learning.
That's the best form of learning. I agree.
You learn on the field. So what happens on the field is what you know and you expect. But when you're learning in the classroom, not necessarily what happens and what you learn in the classroom is going to happen in real life. That's my opinion.
That's why I was telling you all just now that the formal qualification is just a piece of paper. And that's why sometimes a lot of schools, when they take an entry into programs, they look at experience too. Right? And that is why I had we did the whole soccer bag project. where we actually went into trying to market the product, starting it off, first of all, trying to market it, trial and error in terms of the flavors. Didn't we do all that?
Branding.
And the
Yeah.
branding and all these things?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't take it full-fledged because of circumstances, but we at least had some insight into it, and we realized exactly how much work we had to do. And not just that, the amount of
Yeah.
investment we had to put in. You know? So that
Even
would
with
have
the,
given us some kind of actual experience. But I understand what Stu is saying, and I actually support that because there's an instance that I know of where I don't know if I told you all about the guy who fixes the medical machines.
Yeah, you
You know
did.
that story? Right.
Yeah.
The same thing. He does not have formal engineering, let's just say biochemical experience. He just has a knack for fixing things. And on the day of the interview, he was going up against persons who would have got their degree from UE and university, whatever, right? And he did not have his. But he was tested in the sense that an actual machine broke down while they are at the hospital. The engineers who coming out of the university with their degree could not fix it. But he, who had no formal training in it in terms of a degree, was able to fix it, and it was up and running within no time. And that is how he got the job now. And that is how he is now in charge of all of these persons with their degree. Him having no formal education into it, but just has the technical know-how of how to do it based on his experience. Now he's head person in charge of fixing all of the machines in Mount Hope and a few other health facilities in Trinidad as well as internationally and regionally. To me, that's a lot. His pay is, wow. But you know, it's all based on your experience. So I understand exactly what Stevie is saying, and that has a big part to play in terms of our education system too. Right? And
but you
even
find that a lot with mechanics also.
yes, yes,
Like there's a lot of mechanics who know about cars but have no paperwork for sure.
exactly. And then that's how you can tell a good mechanic from a not so good one. And that is where you can take your skills and create your own business and become your self-employed. So you're not depending on somebody else to make employment for you then. And that is why I'm a great advocate for those vocational training. It's better to have a skill that you know nobody can take away from you. You can always develop that skill later on as you progress.
I agree.
That is my firm belief. I do not think that personally a formal piece of paper, a formal education is the only way to learn and is the only right quote unquote way to become employed. Right? Like for example, and I'm just going back from experience here, right? Like even the makeup artist. You can watch I can watch how much tutorials, I can try out how much time of a time. It never comes out the way my makeup artist does my makeup. I don't know. And it's the same products. There's always a difference in it. So it goes to show that yes, you might try it on your own because you know some people like to say, well, I could try this too, it might come out the same way. Not all of the time it might come out in that. Person's skill set are different.
That's what I then.
Yeah, well, yeah, for real. I can't even do that, and I wouldn't even bother try. Right? But even like for you, Stewie, that's good because now you can always branch off into your own. Or if your uncle desires, you know, you can buy it over from him or whatever. Right? But the thing is, that is something nobody can take away from you. And your employment status would always be set in the sense that you're a provider on your own. You know, and that is what what comprises the infant industries, infant businesses that government would want to protect, right? Especially from the larger ones, you know. You understand what I'm getting at here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we talked about unemployment. We talked about the underemployment part. Now let's look at the types of unemployment. There's a seasonal unemployment, which means, just as the name suggests, right, that people are only employed at a certain time of the year or the month. Like, for example, persons, for carnival, that's a seasonal type of employment. Like, for example, who?
security there.
Yeah, increased security. What else?
Bartenders and them.
Yeah, that's the peak season.
Truck, man.
What about
People
entertainment
who make
companies?
costumes.
Yeah, and entertainment companies.
Yeah.
What about promotional companies? Promoters.
I
That
mean,
is their peak
a
season.
party right through the year.
Yeah, but I mean that's the peak. That's where they make the most money. If you realize the carnival calendar is
necessary.
always full with like 10 pets in one day.
So that means less for you.
Huh?
Less for you. You have to be one of the top for people to be coming to your event,
That's it.
especially.
Exactly.
Not like festival of colors. If you have like somewhere in July, that's where you will get the most money out of everything.
Yeah, but festivals of colors. That's not the international one you're talking about.
You know, the Cosita one is post like 3-4 times down here.
That's where you use the paint and all these other things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I went to that once. That's the first day it came out. That was not that great to me personally.
Because it had Chinatown, it had Jamaica, so it wouldn't score as much. But how will you have like 3 times other than that? You realize they don't have much party again.
Oh no, wait,
after
full of
Carnival.
colors. I'm thinking Life in Color. I think it was Life in Color. Was the name of it?
Yeah.
It was
Festival
more
of
of
Color.
a EDPM kind of
FOC.
PM EDPM. That kind of music. No,
Yeah.
what do you call it?
EDM.
Oh, like
Yeah.
a techno
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. I'm not that kind of person. I just went because friends were going. But in terms of that didn't work out for me.
I do it. That's why.
That's what I'm saying. That's just me because my taste would be
Oh,
different from other persons.
Everyone
I
is
agree.
different.
Oh,
What?
What?
What did we say?
nothing.
He said, more mature audiences would enjoy.
Oh, you can't call me old,
Yeah,
Mr.
he said all.
You
He
call
said
me
all.
old?
He said all. He did.
Listen, how could you dance to those things?
I think he said, oh, not old.
No, he said.
Yeah, sure.
Dexton, you are the
Aesthetic.
supporter of the wrong things,
Quick
eh?
intro,
Okay.
you know.
You
You
know,
are
I
the
think
supporter of the
he said
wrong things, eh,
old
Dexton?
and not old.
All right. But what? Anybody can give me any other example of a seasonal employment?
Them Valentine's Day. You know them
How
they
you
always
mean?
come out for all them just put all the teddy bears and just saying
If you want to say it, maybe you could say florists. I don't know, because you get a peak in demand around Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, certain events, certain seasons, right?
That's
Compared,
short,
yeah, it wouldn't be as the same throughout the year. I'm thinking, what else?
Not for florists.
Nah, but it's the other different, yeah.
For florists is weekly. If I thought of the kind of money he doesn't make.
Oh wow. Where in terms of the dining spaces or in terms of the rooms?
Flowers are changed every week.
Wow.
For one arrangement, could go up to 1,000 pieces. And the arrangement is very small, but classy. So not only does he do the arrangements for the property, he also does the arrangements for guests who wants to do, special occasions. So that's another source of income. And then of course when Valentine's come, and then of course we ain't talking about persons who, outside of us have
Right.
business. So now I know him personally. We develop a relationship over the years, a working relationship of course. So there'll be times where he wouldn't be at home and he would tell me go and get what I need now. And this man's property is absolutely amazing. It's huge.
Wow.
Talking like 2-3 cars in the top-end, high-end cars. The house is so beautiful. The ceiling is like it's extremely high. So you feel,
By chance,
So
it's
he
in
makes a
South?
lot. Huh?
It's in South?
No.
Okay.
It's in I don't want to give out too
Yeah.
much, but yeah, But it's nice. But it's a really, really nice property.
All right, so we won't call florist seasonal. Who else we can call seasonal? No? But it would be depending on, his case would be different. Like, for example, depending on how lucrative he made that contract proposal and all of these things, right? So again, it depends on the savviness of the entrepreneur and the links that they may have and all
But could we not say that farmers seasonal because some fruits
Yeah.
are seasonal?
for
Fruits
certain
and
crops.
Yeah, certain crops are seasonal.
Let's look at structural unemployment. This refers to changes in the structure of an industry, such as when industries are failing. There would be cutbacks causing some workers to become unemployed. Any suggestions or ideas about this? Examples? Petrotrin.
Yeah, but that's a good example.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Anybody would have thought that the oil and gas sector would have been like this?
Yeah.
Eventually.
Because
I would have
it's a raw material, and if you
For
keep
sure.
taking, it will deplete.
Yeah, it's a non-renewable raw material. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be replenished.
Right, good. Technological unemployment. This is when people no longer have the skills and qualifications to be used in a particular job. It also refers to when manual labor is replaced by technology. Any idea?
This IBM machine, like what
How
they
do you mean?
doing,
Go ahead, explain.
like what they doing Hidden Figures in the movie, when the machine could calculate faster than a human brain, so they didn't need the workers again, but they
Yeah.
still need workers to operate the machine. It wasn't
There's a term that for that.
100 workers. They didn't need 100 workers, they needed just 10.
Is it capital intensiveness?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Especially for companies who now want to go full-fledged in terms of the use of technology, right? And that could threaten the employment levels of persons. So, and we discussed this when we were talking about division of labor and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But then there are certain jobs that need to be considered that the machines cannot replace. Right? Like a dentist. I don't want a machine working on my mouth as a dentist.
But do they not have machines that do dental work?
Yeah, but
No?
yeah.
That are assisted by persons. Yeah. I don't think it does it full-fledged. Not that I know of, anyways.
When you tell the machine, there's
some machines that are operated, some are assisted. I could be wrong, but
that's something we could research to find out more about.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah. Frictional unemployment. This is where a person is in between jobs or searching for the right job. Any ideas of any examples of that this could be?
Entrepreneur.
Okay, how?
My neighbor, she jumping from job to job, and she can't say something.
Okay, okay, what kind of jobs?
I know she went. She was in the bank. She working in the market. She went AMCO to work, and like she says she can work for people. Alright, then I tell she, well, good luck for you.
So she says she can't work for people. What she wants to do then?
I have no idea, miss. I tell she is up to she is. She's jumping from job to job, and she using all the legal just to get away. She taking 5 days notice. She sick leave one time, so she getting paid while she home. I like, girl, you really not easy.
It all depends on. You see, that also too depends on the person, and their ability and their willingness to put out the effort. I don't know. It depends on a lot of factors, basically. Right? But The important thing is, Sims, for the exam purpose, just know the types of unemployment and what the definition is. Because I think we already discussed in many other handouts the effects of it.
Definition of unemployment.
If you're looking at the social,
You see exam come in multiple choice, trust me, is this so like that?
well, I want to give you a multiple choice paper to see. Put that to test. What we could do is we could probably schedule a session or something. We'll work on it different. We'll work on the details after.
Sounds fun.
Social problems of unemployment. People become idle, bored, and this leads to frustration and a sense of unworthiness. That is definitely the case, and to be honest, it's real. It's very, very real, especially for persons who would have just graduated, let's just say from UU or something. Yeah, not being able to find employment, knowing that you have this piece of paper saying that you're qualified, it is frustrating. The unemployed turns to crime, drugs, and vandalism, which is the destruction of public or private property. And I think we can relate to this. Maybe we could even see some of this happening during the whole COVID situation, given the fact that a lot of people are unemployed. Huh?
I see videos people running in supermarket stores and taking what they want and going their way.
You heard of that?
Huh? Yeah.
You heard it? Oh, okay.
Not down here recently, but it had a time there like 1992. And there was breaking in it whereby it is and taking what they want and
No, but there was a video released earlier this week of a lady going into the supermarket and putting stuff in her purse.
Really?
And saying that she was going to pay for it when she reached by the cashier. She just didn't want to
But if
use
it's in the
the
purse, you really think she's going to pay for it? Why wasn't it in the basket?
They were showing it on the tape. So the security guard was observing her. Yeah, she said she didn't want to use, she said that she didn't wish to use the basket because of the virus. So she was putting stuff in her purse and she was going to pay for it when she got to the cashier.
This is some real good creative writing, you know?
So Sergeant Alexander, well, the SPI Superintendent Alexander from the Untitled
He got promoted?
That the security officer was wrong for approaching her because he should have waited to see she would have actually left the store without paying.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree on that one. All right, let's look at the other one. Increase in domestic violence. What you're thinking about that? To me, I'm seeing it happening now. No, sir? Yeah? And vagrancy and homelessness. You're not seeing any news how many persons now landlords putting them out for failure to pay rent. That's quite sad, to be honest, given the whole situation. All right, so let's look at the economic aspects of unemployment. A fall in income for the government because they'll get less revenue from income tax. I think we understand that part. What do you all think?
Yeah.
If not much persons are employed, would the government get any money in terms of income tax?
No.
They would not get as much, right? Because persons are not employed. Right? And then unemployment will create a fall in demand for goods and a lack of investment. And this will therefore create more unemployment because persons, if there's a lack of demand, what happens? If there's a lack of demand, would companies be able to produce the amount that they used to?
No.
No, they can't because there's not persons to buy it. And then that would lead to more unemployment because then they would have to let go some of their workers because they have no use for them.
Yeah, demand and supply goes together.
Exactly. Right? So you understand that?
Yeah.
Just give me 1 minute. I need to use the washroom. We can take a 2-minute break before we come back.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
Hello?
Right. So we would have looked at the first 2 points under the economic aspects of unemployment. Let's look at the national income will fall. Why will national income fall? Because of unemployment.
No money inside the country. No money
Exactly.
coming in.
Less
Right, good.
taxes.
Less money coming in. Yeah, very good. Standard of living falls. But I think that's self-explanatory because if persons no longer have a steady source of income, they would not be able to afford the things they could have afforded before, and their quality of life would not be as comfortable or as high as before. Government will have to pay out too much money for poor relief and social assistance. And that would become a strain on the government's finances, right? As opposed to the amount of money they could have invested in other areas, like, for example, education and national security and whatever not. Loss of skills, because persons would not be able to utilize their skills being home for a prolonged period of time. Like when people stay home from school for long, like after that 2 months vacation, and they start back out in September. Sometimes they forget how to write because they have not been using that skill for a while. You'll have never experienced that.
Forget how to write.
Like when you were in school, like after the 2 months vacation, and let's just say you didn't take any lessons or anything, and you were home and you actually enjoyed that vacation. When you come back out to school, it feels like taking a while to get back into that writing groove.
And like for work, you forget your passwords and stuff like
All
that.
of that, yeah. Or I forget how to do certain things, like how you used to do it before. And it's like that. Right. Okay. So let's see. Development and growth will be hindered. How?
Not enough income to help beautify the place, I guess. To improve on certain.
Yeah, because
things.
remember, not much economic activity would take place, as opposed to the full potential of how it could have been if more persons are becoming employed, right? And then the brain drain and migration. We discussed, we discussed the brain drain and all of these things, right? So we know what it means, and migration of all the skilled persons going out. Then that's an issue there, right? Because then who will be able to train the other persons? Not so? And then that becomes a problem. It's exactly what we were discussing before. Now, that brings us to the end of this handout, right? And we have the paper 2 questions here. What I want you to do is I'll give you about 5 minutes to go through these questions and let me know if there's any particular one you want to discuss. After that, we would move on to the other handouts. So we could take that pause there now. All right, so I'm glad to see that we're okay with these questions. Let us move on to handout 25. All right, so for handout 25 deals with curriculum. For persons who are doing social studies, learning this handout will work both ways for you in the sense that it kills two birds with one stone because it's applicable to both subject areas, right? And the curriculum questions, like the other macro type questions, come to the latter half of the multiple choice paper. So you would see coming like from numbers 40 to 60. You would see topics like CARICOM, balance of trade, you would see demand and supply, international trade. That's the kind of questions that will come to the latter half of the paper, right? So CARICOM refers to the Caribbean common market, right? And you should know the member states because that is also a multiple choice question. So please take note of the 15 member states of CARICOM, right? Everybody okay with that part so far? Right. You would also need to know the objectives of CARICOM, right? The first one being to promote free trade among its members. Free trade meaning no barriers or restrictions to the movement of goods and services between and among member states, right? To bring about cooperation in economic and non-economic areas such as health, education, communication, culture, youth, and sport affairs, right? To deal with the problems facing the Caribbean countries, for example, the lack of investment and economic dualism, all of those factors that we would have looked at in the previous handout under the problems that affects the region, right? To maximize the bargaining power of the region so that we can effectively deal with large countries. Because remember, most Caribbean nations are small islands. And obviously, we're not half the size as the first world countries. So what we have to do is stick together as a region in unity to be able to be a force to reckon with in terms of negotiation and even trade with the first world countries, right? Note that CARICOM refers to the Caribbean community, and this includes the Caribbean Common Market, which was formed when the Treaty of Chaguaramas, revised in 2001, was signed on the 4th of July 1973. You would also want to know that, right? By 4 countries, namely Jamaica, Guyana, Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago. Those are the founding members. So you definitely want to remember that. Like I said, the serious topic here is a much repeated section in the multiple choice. CARICOM refers, right, we know this about the provision of CARICOM market, trade liberalization or free trade. So whenever you think trade liberalization, also know that they're referring to free trade, right? So don't get confused when you see the terms used interchangeably in the papers. Establishment of services and capital. This is the right of persons from one CARICOM country to engage in self-employed activities in another CARICOM country. Meaning, if, like, let's just say, I know of one person exactly, you know, granite and all of those stones, like, you know, what's used for cabinetry and stuff as cabinet tops. What they do is that they have their own business here in Trinidad, in Endeavour, and they also export it to other Caribbean countries. You can do that. And that's actually a kind of lucrative business, right? The Common Protector Policy. This is where all members must adopt a common external tariff. A common external tariff, meaning a tariff is what? What's a tariff? Remember I told you this term repeats, huh?
Yeah. That's a list of requirements?
No. Check back on that one for me.
Will curb imports coming into the country.
It is a what?
I guess it will curb imports coming
Yeah,
into the country.
but what is it? But what is it really? What is the definition of it?
Is that tax? No.
It's a tax or duty to be paid.
Right. So when they say a common tariff, a common external tariff, what do you mean?
Is that a tax that is put on goods that come into the country?
Yeah, but in terms of common external, in terms of CARICOM, what do you mean?
From other countries, yes?
Right. So all member states would have that same tariff. That's why I say common to all member states, external meaning to countries with outside of the region. So if it is that the outside country wants to trade, right, depending on the product and all these other things, tariffs would apply to those things. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Coordination of economic policies and development planning. So they want to have some kind of cohesion, right? Because that's it, we're a common region, you know so? So you don't want to have, that's why in terms of CXC, right? We can't have Trinidad doing one exam format and the other countries doing the next exam format. That's why we were saying earlier, there needs to be cohesion, there needs to be some kind of agreement among all member states. So the drawing board, the leveling board can be equal. Yeah? A special program for the lesser developed countries. All right. Aims of the common market. These things you will want to know. right? Okay, so aims of the common market. The first one is to unite and integrate Caribbean economies, right? To create economic independence for each country so to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, so to speak. Cooperation services such as tourism and transport. When we're talking about transport, we mean through the air bridge, right? To create social and economic ties, and you would want that. You all looked at the recent headline about Barbados and Trinidad in terms of how they handled the whole COVID incidents with
With the
persons.
patients.
Yeah, what do y'all think? What do you think that the effects of that had to do on the country in terms of within the region? What are you thinking? Because Barbados was, well, they were criticizing the security minister for his response to the whole situation.
Should I keep
Feedback.
the tail home in the first place? They should I keep the tail home in the first place?
Okay, all right. But besides that fact, though, is the handling of the situation. What do you think you would have done in terms of the economic ties between the two? There's always been a long-standing feud between Barbados and Trinidad. Even Trinidad and Jamaica, always been a long-standing feud, not only in terms of economics, but in terms of sports too.
Trinidad good in football and Jamaica good in running. I know Barbados good in.
And cricket too, and like especially in terms of cricket and all these other things, big rift there.
Carry come to tournaments, cricket tournaments.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Okay.
Miss all they can do like supply whatever it is they need and send a bill at the end of it. How hard was that?
Well, the security minister did say that we supplied the kits to Barbados so that they had everything that they needed. But yeah, but the statement that he made, the Barbadian government wasn't too fond of it. And they said that they did everything and they communicated with us here and did everything that we asked. So it was just a difference in opinion.
It's also based on a tone, I think, the way persons speak, right? In terms of their tone, because that would affect how a message is being transmitted.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? That would affect it. And we would have discussed that when we received messages from different persons, even via emails and verbally. Right? Because your tone can also be felt, not just verbally, yeah, but also in writing. Yeah? When you all receive certain emails, it depends on how the writer words it. And that's how you figure out the tone, whether it was harsh or whatever else. All right, the achievements of CARICOM. They created a regional food plan to deal with the problem of feeding the population. The success of the plan depended on the willingness of Caribbean people to change their eating habits and to buy local. Key thing here, buy local. The provision of free trade, the development of industries, increase in employment because of the industries, CXC, because that is the governing body for the region, CARIFESTA, that's where they showcase the culture, Caribbean Meteorological Office, we have that. So we have a common office to deal with the weather and all of these things. The Bureau of Standards, Scientific and Technical Services for the Caribbean, Industrial Development Research, right? So all of these things are what they have established, the achievements that they have received since conception. we're looking at the OECS, and that stands for Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. This is made up of the lesser developed CARICOM countries and was formed on 4th of July 1981. It was formed because the smaller countries felt that they were not getting enough benefits from CARICOM. And the OECS was also set up because these countries had limited finances, of which the Eastern Caribbean currency was later implemented. And they also formed the Eastern Caribbean market. Their own Supreme Court and the Central Bank was also formed. You will want to make sure you know who are the members of the OECS and when they started operation and all of these things. One of the popular multiple choice questions deals with what they do is that they deal with the timeline of these organizations, like what came first and what came after, right? So like the CARICOM come first, so the OECS come first, you know? So what you will want to do in this handout when you print it or in your notebooks is to make a note of the organization, the governing bodies and the year and the date that they were commenced or that they were born, so you'll know, because that is a repeat question, right? You'd also want to know the aims, at least one or two aims of them, right? To promote economic integration for the lesser developed countries, to promote their unity and independence, and to achieve common foreign policies and position in international issues. So because these Eastern Caribbean states are smaller and they're not as developed as the larger Caribbean CARICOM states, right? They need this governing body to help boost their bargaining power, right? Sorry, and to stay alive. The terms, see all these you would want to know. The OAS is the Organization of American States. The OPEC is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. The IMF, I think you've heard me discuss them enough to know that they stand for the International Monetary Fund, right? And if we look now at the Chamber of Commerce, right? This is a body made up of business people who are involved in commerce. Commerce or trade. Commerce means trade, right? And individual countries have different chambers of commerce. In Trinidad, we have various, right? But at the regional level, there's the Caribbean Association of Industry and Commerce. What is the aim? This is also a repeat question, so you want to make sure you know this one. To address the concerns about trade at the highest level, promote good neighborly trade activities between the local communities in which they operate, and to promote the welfare of the economy and its citizens. You need to know the aims of these Chamber of Commerce, because I can tell you it is a repeat multiple choice question, right? The Caribbean Free Trade Association, or CARIFTA, you will want to know about this too, right? CARIFTA was formed in 1968 and evolved into CARICOM in 1973. So basically CARIFTA came first, then CARICOM, right? Then the OECS. Remember the timeline I'm talking to you all about, huh? Its major activities were to foster economic cooperation among member states, to coordinate foreign policy, to foster cooperation in health, education, culture, and communication, and to encourage regional trade. That means trade among different countries in the region. Right, so now we come to the Caribbean Single Market and Economy, or CSME. In 1994, at the Caribbean Heads of Government meeting, the Caribbean governments agreed to establish a single market and single economy, meaning all the Caribbean nations now will be seen as one economy, right? This will allow for the free movement of people, capital, and services across the region and holds the same objectives and aims of CARICOM. Do you know you can, with a certificate, now move freely and work freely from one Caribbean country to the next? So if you see a nice job opportunity in Barbados, you all know you can you can travel and go and apply for that position there and work there. You all know that you do that, right? That's what we mean when I say freedom of movement of people. Yeah?
Yeah, mouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Manufacturers Association. This is a local association that is made up of businesses or organizations of the manufacturing industry. Hence the name Manufacturers Association, right? Matters of concern to manufacturers are presented and discussed. These concerns are also presented to governments for assistance and advice, especially as it relates to imports. Right? Everybody okay so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You see this part of the handout, you really need to do, because that's the way that the questions will come. Yeah? So what are you all thinking about this handout?
Just to read over.
Yeah, but
over,
that's it. You need to read it
and
over.
understand.
Yeah. To read over, to figure out, just and to know the dates. That's exactly what you need to do for that part of the paper. Right? Any questions so far? What you could do now is take a look at these questions here and see what you think about it. So you can take a few minutes and browse them through.
The Chamber of Commerce is to encourage trade,
Yeah.
and the Manufacturers Association was that again?
Set up specifically to deal with manufacturers in a country. Manufacturers, persons who make the products. So that would be like Abel and SM Jaleel and, you know, Kiss and all these other things. So an association set up specifically for them to listen to their problems, and then their advice and suggestions can be taken to government and how they can assist them in terms of exporting further with their products. Like, for example, Export TT is one of the agencies set up by the government where they send out officers throughout different countries in the region to assess the success and the operations of certain export products for the Caribbean, especially for Trinidad, and they come back with data, trade data, that they now host with and share with the manufacturers about how their product is doing in the regional countries, right? And how they can improve their product, what are the people on the ground saying, and all sorts of things. So that is one agency that I think is quite useful because it brings back valuable information for the manufacturers about how they can alter or add to their strategies in terms of their regional strategy and how their product works in other countries other than just Trinidad. Yeah. In terms of the packaging and all these other things too. Which part on the shelf it's placed, how does it do, how is demand, and all of these things. Yeah. What are you all thinking about these questions so far? Right, so any questions on these here that you all want to discuss? Are we all right?
Yeah, no mess, everything is good. We good.
All right, good. So, well, today is the last session for the term. So what I would recommend for you to do is to go through your handouts. If you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email and we can discuss it from there, right? Again, we don't know exactly the approved date of the exam. We just know the draft. So just continue to be on a lookout on social media from CXE or even CTS. And we can always discuss after that, right? If you need any assistance, or you have any questions for anything, feel free to shoot me an email, right? And we'll take it from there. So I wish you all the best of luck in the exam and in going forward, right?
Yes.
Can I get some feedback in terms of what you all thought about the class for the year in general?
It was excellent for me because I thought it would be a boring class, but it wasn't.
You thought it was boring?
No, I said I thought it would have been a
Yeah.
boring class, but it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah, it was excellent for me.
Anybody else?
For me, it was fun, and because it was fun, it made it easier to learn and understand, and you actually wanted to come to the class. So
And I
the
love
learning part of everything was easier.
Yeah, and your teaching style was good enough for me.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was really
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
because
Yes,
I
I have one question. Why you wasn't nominated to the teachers or the
Why I
program
wa-
manager? Yeah. I
What do you mean?
see three teachers or program managers of the CTS nominees for best teacher.
Oh, that post was, they just put up 3 persons pictures, I'm thinking, but they wanted to, I can't remember what the post was about.
Was for you to
To
get
hear you,
discount. Was for you to get discount. You have to
right,
give your
for you to get the
report or
discount,
whatever.
yeah. So I think in order to qualify for discount, you have to put something, your feedback from any lecturer or from any person, and share the post or something like that, something along those lines.
Okay.
It makes sense because I don't feel if you teaching any other subject then, but other than that, it makes sense to them.
Yeah, I agree. You are what the teacher should be.
Oh, that makes me feel
Yeah,
right up.
I agree.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. Don't make
This
me
is the first class I enjoyed since I've been to CTS all them years. It's the first class I
CTS?
enjoyed and I understand. Yeah, I used to go before. The first class I enjoyed and I
Talk about
understand everything that she said.
throughout my whole schooling life, Miss is the
Uh-huh.
only teacher that I could say actually want to come to class and learn. Although
Yes,
you don't
so
want
should
to
that's
come
why
to
I
class.
said her teaching style was
Yeah.
I love her teaching style. True.
Remember to be all evening coming to class on a evening at 5 o'clock after work, and we tired and we really don't want to sit down through a whole 3 hour class and be bored.
Sure.
Or
It was
fall
very
asleep.
interactive. Everybody was interacting. It was a nice class.
Yeah,
think
our
we-
little business that we get involved with Charles and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I think
nice.
it was more of a family atmosphere, to be honest.
True.
I really enjoyed the comradeship. I honestly enjoyed my classes too. To be honest, I look forward to coming to class to see you all on a Wednesday and have those discussions.
Yeah, I know, except Dexter. I didn't want to see Dexter.
You know what I remember the most though? When he knocked on a desk and talked about what?
What is Sahara dust?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sahara
That,
dust.
to be honest, was the best. And I would have, after that class, I cracked up. I laughed out loud. And I think somebody was, I can't remember who was in the room, and it was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, well, no, you mentioned Sahara dust. And that's the only thing that came to my mind when they said Sahara dust, to be honest. It was really a good class. I enjoyed having you all. So
Yes,
the feeling is
no
mutual.
problem.
Yeah, we
think we
enjoyed
should-
having you.
Yeah, I think we should all commemorate that and meet up at least once after this whole situation is over.
Of
Sure,
course.
no problem. Once Dexter not invited.
Oh my god.
No, Dexter will be making breakfast.
Oh my
Whoa.
god.
I'm making what?
Yeah,
Bread?
Yeah, he
Bread.
will.
Well, that's it, yes. Yes, that's it. Let Dexter make it.
And fall out.
Party done. He talk about bread, right? If you put chest, oh, gosh, that's it. Everybody have to go. Now we got to go in hospital.
Colleen will have some
That bread.
Colleen will be waiting for us. All right.
I really enjoyed the class because this is the first time I've done this subject, and it wasn't like you just go straight to the book and you just do everything like business-wise, it was like down to earth, everyday life, stating like what went through like with businesses in Trinidad and different things and like life itself. So that is what
Yeah.
makes the class, that is what makes the subject easier to understand, you know, and how you bring across everything like in an everyday life forum with businesses who was like you know, the rise up from where there was and different,
Yeah.
you know, different channels, just the way how it was
Mhm.
made it interesting, you know, your teaching techniques made it interesting. So
Thank
it
you.
wasn't like a boring business class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you all should try to take advantage of that 5% discount and put up your review on the Facebook page if you want.
But it's where it's on the Facebook page.
Yeah, it's on the Facebook page. So you have to, I don't know if
What
you have to
exactly?
tag
The
them
discount is for
or.
what exactly? Is for another course?
Yeah, it's for a short course, so maybe the computer lit or the advanced computer or the graphic. So I think one of those things. I'm not sure. You have to read it through to see.
Okay. Okay.
We'll go through it.
I
We'll go through it.
yeah. It was a pleasure. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday and take care and we'll stay connected.
Okay, bye. You
Have a
too.
good day.
Yes, take care.
Yes.
All right. Have a good day.